I want you to picture a very specific, incredibly common, and universally celebrated moment that happens every single spring in the modern world. Millions of hardworking, exhausted middle-class citizens log into their online bank accounts on a random Tuesday morning, and their eyes suddenly light up with pure, unadulterated joy. They see a massive, unexpected direct deposit from the federal government for $3,000, $4,000, or even $5,000. It is officially tax refund season. The entire culture completely erupts into a massive, consumer-driven celebration. People immediately run out to the electronic stores to buy massive, glowing flat-screen televisions that they absolutely do not need. They use the money to put a down payment on a brand new, rapidly depreciating luxury car to impress their neighbors. They book incredibly expensive, all-inclusive vacations to tropical islands to temporarily escape the depressing reality of their corporate cubicles. They proudly post on social media, bragging about their massive tax refund check, genuinely and deeply believing that they just received a magical, generous financial gift from the government. They feel like they have finally won the lottery. They feel like the system is finally working in their favor. But today, I'm going to expose a financial reality so mathematically brutal, so completely backwards, and so highly manipulative that you will absolutely never, ever celebrate a tax refund check for the rest of your natural life. The traditional financial system completely relies on your mathematical illiteracy to survive. The entire concept of the annual tax refund is not a generous gift. It is not free money, and it is absolutely not a financial victory. It is a highly engineered, mathematically devastating psychological scam designed to legally extract your wealth, completely kill your compounding interest, and keep the government heavily funded at your direct personal expense. In this massive video, we are going to violently unplug you from the toxic illusion of the tax refund celebration. We are going to expose the true, dark history of corporate paycheck withholding, explain the brutal mathematics of the invisible inflation penalty you are paying, and show you exactly how the global elite operate to ensure they never give the government a single penny of free capital. And if you stick with me until the absolute end of this video, I will give you the exact step-by-step escape plan to completely legally manipulate the tax code in your favor, permanently stop the extraction of your monthly cash flow, and transition from an overpaying, mathematically blind citizen into a cold, calculating master of capital allocation. To truly understand the absolute magnitude of this financial scam, we must completely deconstruct exactly what a tax refund actually is. You must deeply and profoundly internalize this absolute mathematical fact. The government does not have any money of its own. The government does not produce physical products. It does not invent new technologies, and it does not generate organic corporate profit. The only way the government funds its massive, bloated trillions of dollars in daily operations is by violently and legally extracting the physical energy and the past labor of the working class through taxation. When you receive a $4,000 tax refund check in the spring, the government is not giving you a bonus. They are simply handing you back your own exact money. It is the money that you physically bled for. It is the money that you sacrificed your youth for. It is the money that you completely earned by working miserable, exhausting overtime shifts on the weekends. But the terrifying question you must immediately ask yourself is, if it was my money the entire time, why did the government have it in the first place? To answer this, we have to look at the dark, manipulative history of the paycheck withholding system. Before the Second World War, the government did not automatically take taxes out of your weekly paycheck. You received 100% of your gross salary, and at the end of the year, it was your personal, individual responsibility to write a massive check to the government to pay your annual tax bill. But the government quickly realized a highly terrifying psychological reality about the middle class. They realized that the average consumer is incredibly impulsive, highly irresponsible, and entirely incapable of saving money. When the end of the year arrived, the citizens had completely spent all their money on consumer garbage, and they literally could not afford to pay their taxes. So the government brilliantly and aggressively changed the rules of the game. They created the automatic withholding system. They legally mandated that your corporate employer must violently slice off a massive percentage of your physical labor and send it directly to the federal government, before the money ever even touches your personal bank account. They installed a massive, invisible, highly efficient financial toll booth right between your physical labor and your wallet. The entire system is explicitly designed around the deeply insulting assumption that you are completely financially incompetent and cannot be trusted to manage your own capital. But here is where the massive mathematical scam completely destroys your wealth. The government does not just take the exact amount of taxes you owe. Because the tax code is incredibly complex and constantly shifting, your corporate employer uses a highly generalized, extremely conservative formula to calculate your withholdings. For the absolute vast majority of the middle class, this formula intentionally overestimates your tax liability. This means that every single time you receive a paycheck, whether it is in January, May, or November, the government is actively, legally confiscating significantly more money from your paycheck than you actually mathematically owe them. They are slowly, silently bleeding your monthly cash flow dry. When you finally file your tax return the following spring, you are essentially knocking on the door of the federal government, showing them your mathematical receipts, and begging them to please give you back the extra money they overcharged you. The government looks at your paperwork, completely admits that they took too much of your money by force, and they write you a refund check to balance the scale. You are literally cheering, jumping up and down, and celebrating the fact that a massive, bureaucratic entity finally returned the stolen property that legally belonged to you the entire time. It is the absolute ultimate, deeply psychological manifestation of Stockholm Syndrome. You have completely fallen in love with your financial captor because they decided to give you back a tiny fraction of your own physical energy. But the absolute most devastating part of this scam is the completely hidden massive opportunity cost. When you overpay your taxes throughout the year, accumulating that massive $4,000 refund, you have mathematically given the federal government a completely free 0% interest loan for 12 to 16 entire months. Think about the absolute insanity of this reality. If you walk into a traditional commercial bank right now and ask to borrow $4,000 to start a business or fix your car, the bank will aggressively charge you 10, 15, or even 20% in brutal credit card interest. They will financially punish you for using their capital. But when the government forcibly takes your $4,000, holds it hostage for an entire year, uses it to fund their massive global operations, and finally hands it back to you, they do not pay you a single solitary penny in interest. You provided the capital, you took the completely restricted cash flow, and the government reaped absolutely all the financial benefits entirely for free. And it gets incredibly worse. As we have deeply exposed in our previous awakenings, the central banking system is constantly printing trillions of new digital fiat dollars, creating a massive, unstoppable wave of inflation that silently destroys the purchasing power of the currency. This means that the $300 the government forcibly extracted from your paycheck in January of last year is absolutely not worth the same amount when they finally hand it back to you in April of the following year. While the government was holding your money hostage in their 0% interest vault, inflation was actively, aggressively melting it away like a block of ice in the summer sun. By the time you finally receive your massive refund check, the actual real-world purchasing power of that money has been mathematically completely decimated by 5 to 10%. You did not just give the government a free loan, you actually mathematically paid the government for the supreme privilege of letting them hold your money while it violently depreciated in value. You are celebrating a massive guaranteed financial loss. Now, I want you to completely shift your perspective, take a massive deep breath, and look directly at the absolute highest levels of the global financial elite. I want you to look at the powerful billionaire investors, the massive commercial real estate tycoons, and the ruthless corporate executives. Do you honestly, genuinely believe that the elite ever celebrate getting a tax refund check in the mail? Absolutely not. The elite consider giving the government a free loan to be an absolute, undeniable mathematical sin. The elite operate under a completely different, highly aggressive set of financial rules. They completely understand that the absolute supreme rule of wealth creation is the velocity of money. Money is entirely useless when it is sitting idle in a government vault, but it is incredibly powerful when it is moving, compounding, and acquiring hard assets. When an educated elite investor structures their massive corporate entities and their personal income, their ultimate highly calculated goal is to legally owe the government absolutely nothing at the end of the year, or even better, to slightly underpay their taxes throughout the year. The elite absolutely refuse to let the government withhold a single penny of their capital. Instead of letting $300 a month bleed out into a government holding account, the elite investor forcefully keeps that $300 in their own pocket every single month. They immediately, aggressively deploy that capital directly into cash-flowing commercial real estate, massive dividend-paying stocks, or entirely new scalable business operations. They put their money to work on the exact day they earn it, allowing it to compound and multiply immediately. If an elite investor slightly underpays their taxes throughout the year and owes the government a small check in April, they are incredibly happy. It means they successfully use the government's money completely for free all year long to generate massive investment returns, and they only have to pay the principal back at the very end. The middle class completely starves their own monthly cash flow, gives the government a free loan, suffers the brutal penalty of inflation, and celebrates getting the dead, depreciated money back. The elite maximize their monthly cash flow, actively take a free loan from the government, use that capital to generate massive compounding wealth, and simply write a tiny check at the end of the game with a smile on their face. The mathematics are completely radically inverted. If you are listening to this exact sentence right now and you feel a massive, heavy iron blindfold violently ripping off your face, realizing that your massive spring tax refund is actually a completely depressing receipt of your own financial ignorance, you are officially stepping completely out of the middle-class matrix. But I must issue a very serious, incredibly urgent warning. You cannot simply stop paying your taxes or completely ignore the government matrix. The Federal Tax Agency is the absolute most ruthless, heavily armed, and highly aggressive collection agency on the face of the planet. They will violently freeze your bank accounts, they will confiscate your physical assets, and they will completely destroy your life if you attempt to illegally evade them. We are absolutely not talking about illegal tax evasion. We are talking about highly sophisticated, completely legal tax strategy and aggressive cash flow optimization. Grab a pen and a blank piece of paper right now. Eliminate absolutely all distractions around you, turn off your glowing television screen, and prepare to execute this actionable, step-by-step escape plan to permanently assassinate your tax refund illusion aggressively, reclaim your monthly capital, and transition from a compliant, heavily taxed citizen into an untouchable, mathematically lethal master of money velocity. Rule number 1. You must completely, radically, and violently reprogram your entire emotional reaction to tax season. You must permanently assassinate the toxic, middle-class desire to receive a massive check in the spring. You must deeply and profoundly understand that a tax refund is a massive financial failure on your part. Your new permanent financial goal for the rest of your life is to perfectly balance the mathematical scale so that your tax refund is as close to exactly $0 as humanly possible. You want to completely eliminate the government's free loan and aggressively inject that extra capital directly back into your own monthly survival budget. Rule number 2, you must aggressively initiate a massive, highly calculated audit of your corporate paycheck withholdings tomorrow morning. You absolutely cannot passively allow your human resources department to blindly guess how much money they should confiscate from you. You must sit down with a highly specialized tax accountant or aggressively utilize high-level digital tax calculators to determine your exact, precise mathematical tax liability for the year. Once you know the exact number, you must legally force your corporate employer to adjust your official tax withholding forms. If you typically get a $3,600 refund, that means the government is stealing exactly $300 from your monthly cash flow. You adjust your paperwork to legally completely stop that overpayment. Suddenly, as if by pure financial magic, your next paycheck is significantly larger. You did not ask your boss for a raise. You simply violently took back the capital that was legally yours to begin with. Rule number 3, you must completely shift your entire financial focus from consumption to aggressive immediate deployment. It is absolutely mathematically useless to fix your tax withholdings, increase your monthly paycheck by $300, and then instantly waste that extra capital on expensive coffee, fast food, and useless consumer garbage. The exact second that extra $300 hits your personal bank account, you must treat it exactly like elite mercenary soldiers. You absolutely must not let them sleep. You immediately violently deploy that extra capital directly into an aggressive investment portfolio. You buy fractions of a high-performing index fund. You save it aggressively for a massive down payment on a cash-flowing rental property, or you use it to heavily fund a scalable digital side business. You are taking the exact money that was previously rotting away in a 0% government vault, and you are aggressively forcing it to work for you 24 hours a day, generating true, unstoppable generational wealth. Let us completely summarize this brutal, mind-bending reality before you go out and take massive, life-changing action today. The modern economic taxation system is a perfectly designed, highly efficient psychological illusion. They violently extract your physical energy through automatic withholdings. They intentionally overcharge you to secure a massive free loan. They let inflation silently destroy your purchasing power while they hold the money, and then they brilliantly manipulate you into celebrating when they finally hand the depreciated scraps back to you. The traditional advice to use your tax refund as a forced savings account because you lack personal discipline is the absolute most dangerous, toxic, and mathematically destructive financial advice in the modern world. It guarantees that you will remain completely impoverished, completely dependent on the government, and entirely locked out of the compounding wealth cycle. The absolute only possible way to win this completely rigged game is to violently unplug yourself from the refund illusion, aggressively fix your paycheck withholdings, and forcefully deploy your reclaimed monthly capital exactly like a ruthless billionaire. If this terrifying, reality-shattering information finally opened your eyes, if you feel like I just violently ripped you out of the tax matrix and handed you the absolute truth about how the global elite actually control their cash flow, then I need you to absolutely destroy that. Like button and subscribe to the channel right now. You absolutely cannot afford to miss the extremely high-level, aggressive wealth-building strategies we have coming up next on this massive channel. And speaking of massive financial traps that are specifically engineered to completely lock up your capital and mathematically guarantee that Wall Street extracts massive fees from your life savings. If you want to deeply understand the absolute biggest lie ever told by the traditional retirement industry and exactly how the concept of the standard 401k plan is a massive psychological prison designed to lock your money away until you are entirely too old to enjoy it, you have to watch this video right here on the screen. In it, I completely break down the ultimate Wall Street lockup illusion, and I show you exactly why the elite completely refuse to hand their capital over to mutual fund managers, choosing instead to build massive private empires they control today. Click that video right now. Your future, highly liquid self will eternally thank you. I will see you over there on the other side.